Hollywood, 1947. The war is over. The GIs are home. Dreams are being made and broken on a grander scale than ever before. But on one crisp January morning, not far from the gilded gates of a dream factory, a discovery was made that would curdle the milk of every fantasy. Imagine a vacant lot in a new suburban development. The grass is overgrown, the air still damp. A mother out for a walk with her child sees something pale. She thinks it's a discarded mannequin, a cruel joke. But as she gets closer, the joke stops being funny. It stops being human. It was a body, a woman, cut in half, drained of blood, arranged with a macabre precision that suggested not just murder, but a perverse, terrifying artistry. This wasn't just a crime. This was a statement. This was a nightmare walking in broad daylight. This is the story of Elizabeth Short. But to the world, she would forever be known as the Black Dahlia, and her ghost still haunts the sun-drenched streets of Los Angeles. January 15th, 1947. Leimert Park, Los Angeles. A woman named Betty Berzinger is pushing her 3-year-old daughter past a vacant lot on Norton Avenue. What she saw first, she couldn't quite process. A figure, pale, nude, lying on the ground. She thought it was a mannequin that had fallen out of a truck. Then she saw the dark hair, the grim smile, and the horrific bisected torso. Her daughter cried, "Mommy, what's that funny lady?" It was Elizabeth Short, and what had been done to her was beyond comprehension. Her body had been sliced completely in half at the waist, meticulously drained of blood and posed. Arms above her head, legs spread wide. A horrific, almost artistic arrangement. And her face. The forensic team described it as one of the most grotesque scenes they'd ever encountered. Dr. Frederick Newbar, the lead medical examiner, cataloged every chilling detail. The body was completely severed between the second and third lumbar vertebrae, a precise cut. All internal organs were removed, and the body had been meticulously washed. The skin was pale, almost waxy, due to the blood drainage. But the most iconic and perhaps most disturbing detail was the face. A Glasgow smile, a brutal cut from the corners of her mouth, extending to her ears. It gave her a fixed, ghastly grin. There were also ligatures on her wrists and ankles, indicating she had been tied up. Fragments of cement dust were found in her hair, and a distinct FH tattoo on her thigh had been cut out. Her fingerprints identified her, Elizabeth Short. She'd been dead for about 10 hours before her body was found, placing her time of death in the early morning of January 15th. The killer had done his gruesome work elsewhere, and then, under the cover of night, driven her body to the lot, posing her for maximum impact. This wasn't just a murder. It was a message. Elizabeth Short was born in Boston, Massachusetts, in 1924. She was the third of 5 daughters. Her father had seemingly abandoned the family in 1930, parking his car on a bridge and disappearing, presumed to have committed suicide. He reappeared years later, having moved to California. Elizabeth had a troubled youth. Asthma, an early interest in Hollywood glamour, and a restless spirit. She dropped out of high school. She lived with her father for a time in California, but their relationship was strained. She drifted, working odd jobs, dating servicemen, dreaming of stardom. Friends described her as beautiful, magnetic, but also naive. She loved to dance, to go to movies, to be noticed. She was known for her dark hair and striking blue eyes. The Black Dahlia nickname, according to some, came from her habit of wearing sheer black clothing, a fascination with the dark bloom. Others say it was from a movie. Her last known movements were between January 9th and January 14th, 1947. She was seen at the Biltmore Hotel bar, and then the Crown Grill. She was reportedly with a number of different men. A life lived on the fringes of Hollywood, always looking for a connection, a break. Always looking for trouble. The press went wild. This was too good, too gruesome for post-war America. The Black Dahlia, a beautiful girl found brutally murdered, posed like a macabre doll in the heart of Hollywood. It had everything: sex, glamour, horror. The newspapers didn't just report it, they sensationalized it. The Los Angeles Examiner and the Herald Express published lurid details, pictures of the body, edited but still shocking, and created a feeding frenzy. They dubbed her the Black Dahlia, a reference to the film The Blue Dahlia, which had just been released. Reporters called Elizabeth's mother told her Elizabeth had won a beauty contest, only to break the news of her daughter's gruesome death once they had exclusive details. It was a shameful period of journalism, but it worked. The public was gripped. The LAPD was overwhelmed. Hundreds of tips flooded in. False confessions piled up. Every armchair detective, every mentally disturbed individual, every opportunist wanted a piece of the Dahlia story. The intense media scrutiny, rather than helping, often hindered the investigation, making it impossible to separate fact from fabrication. And somewhere, in the shadows, the killer watched, enjoying the spectacle. Then, a new layer of horror. The killer began to communicate, not with words, but with gruesome packages. On January 23, 1947, a mailer arrived at the Los Angeles Examiner. Inside, carefully wrapped in a paper towel, were Elizabeth Short's birth certificate, social security card, photos, business cards, and the names from her address book. But there was something else. A small package, a pair of her shoes, her purse, all neatly cut up and cleaned with gasoline to remove fingerprints. This was no random act of violence. This was meticulous, deliberate. The killer was toying with the police, with the press, with the public. They had kept trophies, then sent them back, daring investigators to catch them. The packages were a chilling reminder that the killer wasn't just a brutal murderer. They were showmen, and the Black Dahlia case was their twisted masterpiece. February 1st, another letter arrived, written in cut-out newspaper words, a ransom note in reverse. It said, "Here is Dahlia's belongings. We'll mail some more of her things in 2 days. I've had fair play from police. Hope you do." The fair play comment was especially chilling. The killer was clearly following the news, mocking the investigation, praising its ineptitude, or perhaps even trying to mislead. This type of communication would become a hallmark of other notorious serial killers decades later, like the Zodiac Killer. But the Dahlia Killer pioneered it. They wanted to prolong the agony, to maintain control over the narrative. They wanted to be seen without being identified. The letters and packages further solidified the Istil-woman connection, an unidentified victim, stripped of personal markers, whose true identity is obscured, and a shadowy figure working behind the scenes, erasing tracks and controlling information. The lurid details and media attention led to a torrent of false confessions. Over 60 people claimed to have killed Elizabeth Short. Most were quickly dismissed. Some were clearly mentally unstable. Others were seeking notoriety. One of the most persistent was a former boxer named Leslie Dillon, who sent letters to the LAPD claiming to know the killer. He implicated a mortician he knew, who reportedly had access to the tools for such a precise bisection. Police spent days interrogating Dillon and others, including a medical student who had a peculiar interest in dissection. The leads went nowhere. Each confession, each new suspect, sent the investigation down another rabbit hole, consuming resources and muddying the waters. The sheer volume of false leads created a fog of confusion that would never truly lift. The killer, if they were among the confessors, was too cleverly hidden among the noise. Or perhaps they simply watched, amused, as the world chased shadows. The case spawned urban legends, hoaxes, and conspiracy theories that persist to this day. Elizabeth Short became less a person and more a symbol. A symbol of Hollywood's dark underbelly, of dreams shattered, of innocence lost. There were rumors of secret sex clubs, high society orgies, and powerful figures involved in the murder. Tales of famous actors and mob bosses who silenced Elizabeth to prevent her from exposing their secrets. None of it was ever substantiated. The most bizarre hoax involved a man named Mark Hansen, a wealthy club owner whose address book was among Elizabeth's belongings. Hansen was quickly cleared, but the public fascination with the rich and famous being involved never died. The Black Dahlia story became a cautionary tale, whispered in back alleys and dimly lit bars. A boogeyman for aspiring starlets. A chilling reminder that even in the brightest city, darkness can consume you completely. Decades later, the internet brought new life to old cold cases. And in the early 2000s, a retired LAPD homicide detective, Steve Hodel, began investigating his own father, Dr. George Hodel. George Hodel was a brilliant, eccentric, and deeply disturbed physician with ties to Hollywood's elite. He was a known philanderer, a surrealist art collector, and a man with a dark reputation. Steve Hodel found disturbing photos in his father's old albums that looked eerily like Elizabeth Short. He discovered his father owned land near where the body was found. And perhaps most damning, newly declassified wiretap transcript from 1950 showed George Hodel making incriminating statements, laughing about the Dahlia case, and mentioning cutting up a body. The father even told his son he thought Elizabeth Short was attractive. The evidence was circumstantial, but deeply unsettling. Could the killer have been hiding in plain sight, a respected member of society? Another prominent suspect, brought forward by true crime author P.I. John Gilmore, was Dr. Walter Bailey, a prominent surgeon known for his lavish parties and a scandalous past. Bailey, like Hodel, had access to scalpels, surgical expertise, and a knowledge of anatomy required for such a precise bisection. Elizabeth Short was last seen alive, leaving the Biltmore Hotel with a man whom many believed was Bailey. Gilmore meticulously connected Bailey to a number of other unsolved murders of young women in the area, suggesting a pattern of violence. The idea that a respected medical professional could commit such atrocities was terrifying, a betrayal of trust. Bailey was investigated by the LAPD, but never charged. He died in 1948, taking any potential answers with him. The dark irony is that the very skills meant to heal could also be used to destroy. Another theory points to Norman Chandler, the extremely powerful and influential publisher of the Los Angeles Times. This theory suggests a cover-up of epic proportions. The Dahlia case was a public sensation. Chandler's newspaper profited immensely from the lurid details. Some theorized that Chandler himself, or someone in his inner circle, was the killer, and his power allowed him to suppress the investigation. This theory is popular among those who believe in high-level conspiracy, that the true story of Hollywood's underbelly is far darker than we imagine. It taps into the public's distrust of authority and the elite. While highly speculative, the idea that the very media that sensationalized the case might have had a hand in covering up the truth adds another layer of cynicism and despair to an already bleak story. The list of other suspects is vast. A wealthy businessman named Robert Manley, who claimed he spent Elizabeth's last known day with her. A nightclub owner named Al Morrison. A series of sailors and servicemen who met her in bars. Each lead promising, each ultimately leading to a dead end. The truth is, Elizabeth Short was a woman who floated on the edges of many lives. She had no fixed address, no stable job, no single social circle. She was easy to pick up, easy to forget, until her brutal death made her unforgettable. The sheer volume of suspects, the lack of definitive evidence, and the passage of time have made a definitive solution almost impossible. The LAPD officially maintains the case is still open. But realistically, the trail has gone cold, buried under decades of speculation and false leads. The Black Dahlia remains a phantom, a name whispered, a face remembered, a mystery that continues to defy solution, much like the Istal woman. For those who study unsolved mysteries, the Black Dahlia case holds a particular resonance with the Istal woman. They share a chilling commonality, the erasure of identity. Both women were meticulously stripped of their personal histories. The Dahlia killer removed laundry tags, cleaned the body, and sent her identification in fragmented pieces. The Istal woman had her labels cut, her fingerprints sanded, her teeth altered. Both were rendered nameless. Both cases involve a meticulous, almost ritualistic presentation of the body. The Dahlia posed in a vacant lot. The Istal woman laid out on the hillside. These weren't just murders, they were statements. And in both instances, the public's fascination became intertwined with the mystery, spawning endless theories and making resolution even more elusive. The Istal woman, like the Black Dahlia, became a cipher, a mirror reflecting our own fears of anonymity and the unseen evil that walks among us. The Black Dahlia case exposed the dark underbelly of Hollywood. For every success story, there were dozens, hundreds of young women like Elizabeth Short, drawn by the promise of fame, only to find loneliness and exploitation. The city, with its glittering facade, was also a place where someone could easily disappear, swallowed by its vastness, its indifference, or its dangers. Elizabeth Short's story became a permanent scar on the face of the dream factory. She was a girl who wanted to be seen, but ultimately became famous only for the horrific way she was unmade. Her tragedy serves as a brutal reminder that even in a city built on illusions, some horrors are terrifyingly real. More than 75 years later, the Black Dahlia case remains unsolved. It's a wound in the collective consciousness of Los Angeles, a story that refuses to die. The detectives who worked the case have passed on. The witnesses are long gone. The physical evidence, even if it could be re-examined, is severely degraded or lost. The chance of a definitive answer dwindles with each passing year. Yet the fascination persists. Books are written, documentaries are made, podcasts dissect every detail. We cling to these cold cases because they speak to a fundamental human fear, the unknown. The idea that pure evil can strike, leave its mark, and vanish without a trace. Elizabeth Short came to Hollywood seeking a dream. She found only a nightmare, carefully crafted by a killer who turned her into a grotesque work of art. She remains a potent symbol, the girl swallowed by the darkness. Her smile, fixed and cruel by her killer's hand, is a perpetual taunt from the grave. Who killed the Black Dahlia? Was it the doctor, the publisher, the drifter, or someone entirely unknown, still living among us or long dead and buried with their horrific secret? We may never know, but her story serves as a chilling echo through time, a reminder that some monsters thrive in the shadows, and some mysteries are destined to haunt us forever. And somewhere, in the annals of cold cases, Elizabeth Short and the Istal woman nod to each other across the decades, two nameless ghosts waiting for justice.